There is no secret. You have to pay your dues. You have to lock in for 5 years and just trust the process. When I first started my entrepreneurial journey, I fell into the trap of every internet guru had a magic bullet. Every internet guru had the secret method to success. And that is exactly the trap. There's no one method. There's no secret tactic. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And it is a dangerous premise to believe. Because if you believe that success is one secret tactic, one secret technique, one secret business model, you have already failed. You believe that success is something outside of your reach, outside of you. You have to strive for it. That is not true. Here's the internal shift you need to hammer into your brain, into your soul. Success is not outside of you. Success is internal. You already have everything that you need. You don't have to strive for it. You already are abundant. You are living in abundance, and you can let that abundance pour out of you. In this video, I'm going to first break down the idea of success being internal, and then I'm also going to give you the 3 cheat codes to unlock the overflow of finances in your life. Firstly, we're going to break down the idea that success is first internal. Have you ever heard of entrepreneurs saying the first million is always the hardest?
It's almost impossible to make your first $1 million. You work your ass off. It's so hard.
And once you get the first million, everything kind of just becomes easier.
It wasn't as hard to get to 5 as it was to 1.
That is because the $1 million didn't make them successful. The journey made them successful. You have to pay your dues. There are also instances where entrepreneurs would lose everything and then they would regain everything or even more in half the time. Does that mean that they are not successful when they lost everything? No, they were still successful, even though the money fluctuated. But because they already knew, they already walked the journey, they already knew how to regain it in a fraction of the time. You have to first build the internal structures and walk through that journey to be successful. And I'm using the word successful a little loosely in this video. I think online you see a lot of earn 10K a month or I'm a millionaire or whatever. I'm using the word successful a little bit loose in this video, but I think everybody get the idea. Another example of success being internal is lottery winners. They have the external success. They have the money, but it's known that they go broke. A lot of them go broke. Why is that?
Can I ask you, if you won all the money, what would you do with it?
Bunch of hookers and cocaine.
They go broke because they never developed the internal structures, the mindset, the habits. They just don't have it. They have the same patterns that they had before they had the money. I know they have the money. They're just someone who's unsuccessful with a lot of money. But when you have money, you want to be able to maintain the success. That's what you really want. A few years ago, me and my friends came up on a huge sum of money. It was about $10,000 in my currency, which is about 5,000 US. And at the time, I was like a teenager. It was a lot of money. I was like, oh my gosh. And we blew it. We blew it, unfortunately. If I was to have that $10,000 now, it would be a different story. I would invest into equipment. I would something. I would do something with it. I would continue to be fed from the initial $10,000, right? I say these things so that you could shift your eyes from the external things, because the external things can fluctuate, but it's what you gain internally that would allow success to continually flow out of you, to allow abundance to continually flow out of you, that you never run out of stuff, you never run out of success, money, whatever you count success as, but you already have it. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying. And also, if you're enjoying this type of content, like connecting spirituality with practical stuff, subscribe, because my channel is about breaking down and connecting these high woo spiritual concepts to practical everyday things you can implement into your life. So now we're going to be breaking down 3 cheat codes that you can use to unlock the gates of abundance or overflow in your life, right? The first one is the law of dominion. The law of dominion. In Genesis, you hear God say, now let us make man in our image and our likeness, so that they may have dominion. So that they may have dominion over the earth, the land, sea, whatever. right? And I want to link that idea now to commerce. You are paid directly proportionally to the level of dominion that you possess. The level of dominion that you possess over a material, over an industry, over a subject matter. A carpenter is paid directly proportional to the amount of dominion, control that he has over his material, wood. A carpenter has control, dominion over wood. He can manipulate the wood to look a certain way, to build certain structures. That is dominion, that is control. A barber, how a barber could cut here, and your haircut, that remind me. How a barber could cut here is an example of dominion. He has control and expertise in that area. Doctors have dominion, control. They know how to manipulate the human body to heal it. That is dominion. So the first law is the law of dominion. You want to get a skill and relentlessly pursue this craft, this skill, to a relentless level, to a almost perfectionism level. That is when you unlock mastery. You want to attain mastery over a subject area, over a subject matter, anything of the sort, anything that is valuable to another human being. So don't become a master in, I don't know, slinkies. I don't know, I just made that up. The next cheat code or law is the law of nature, the law of environment. So you see, this internal mastery, this internal abundance, overflow is very contagious. You know, people say you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That is so true. When people say that, they assume their friends, who they hang out with. But more than likely, the people that had the most influence on you in your life is more than likely your parents. They shaped your internal monologue. They shaped what you believe about success. They shape you. They guide you. They train you. They raise you. That's what their job is. And you are carrying around so many beliefs about success, about money, about finances from your parents that you probably don't even think twice about. So it's invisible to you. I had a recent experience where I got a ride with one of my friends' parents. And in the car ride, their parents talked about ownership a lot. Like, it was just a casual conversation. So we would be driving and they'd pass a business and they'd ask, oh, who owns that business? Oh, who owns that business? And it was so strange to me. Like, it was like every place we passed, they would ask who owns that business. And I give that example because if you didn't grow up in a family who were owners, like, imagine being the child of that family. It was just a casual car ride and their parents were talking about ownership, because more than likely they knew the owners. They just probably knew who owned it. Like, it would have been one of their friends that owned it. And ownership would have been a natural conversation in that family. And you, not knowing what you don't know, wouldn't know that your competitor grew up in that household. Ownership, managing businesses, that kind of stuff is natural, second nature to them. Is almost like, is invisible to them, just much like how not ownership, consuming is all you know. But what do you do if your parents aren't like that? If your parents aren't instilling good financial principles into your life, into your mind? If your parents have difficulty with management and stewardship of finances, what do? Well, this is the best advice I wish I heard. Well, I heard it, but I just was too proud to take it. But I so greatly underestimated mentors. Mentors are a genuine cheat code. They have walked the same road as you. They are where you want to be in life, and they could cut a lot of the mistakes out of your life. I didn't used to believe in mentors because I guess I thought, I don't know, maybe it was pride, I don't know. But when I got my first mentor, it really showed me how much I was missing. Just some premium game will be spitted casually. Like, it's not in a formal setting at all. Like, usually, oh my god, everything clicked. Oh, I've been doing this wrong the whole time. And they could guide you. They've made the mistakes, guide you not to make those same mistakes. You still have to pay the dues, but with a mentor, they could help you to avoid costly mistakes, like, and just stop you from wandering in the desert for 40 years. It's just easy. It's just common sense. Like, they've already paid their dues, and they're giving it to you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Another key point about mentors is they could often give you niche advice. Like, let's say I live in Barbados, and you get a mentor who is in Barbados in the industry you want to be in, who is ahead of you. They could give you niche, super niche advice that doesn't apply anywhere else but where you are. Free game, bro. Free game. Could you be my mentor, please? It doesn't have to be like that. You could just be around them. Take notes. It could be someone in your office that is where you want to be. Take notes. Ask them questions. That could be a mentor. It just has to be someone you look up to, someone who you respect in a certain area of life. Pay for mentors. You definitely can pay for mentors. That is a big, like, it could cut so much heartache out of your journey. Just pay for mentors. I definitely recommend that now. And that was a nice segue into my third principle, my third law, our third cheat code. And that is the law of nurture. No one is self-made. Absolutely no one on earth. From the time you were born, someone had to nurse you. You could piggyback off of the backs of great men. And that is exactly what books do. If you don't have access to great financial parents with great financial backgrounds, if you don't have access to the mentors, right? Great men, better than your parents, better than whoever, have written their philosophies down. They've written their motivations down, how they achieved what they achieved. You could literally take it and use it in life. You do not have to start from zero. I guess a cheat code is don't just read one niche or industry or type of book. Read all books. Have a voracious appetite for knowledge, because it wasn't until I started reading outside of my comfort zone that my mind was truly opened up. Like, I learned so much about marketing, and I'm a marketing student, not from my marketing classes, but when I took a sociology class, right? When I started studying history in depth, because there's so much things that we do today that we don't even know where they come from. And the history would tell you why people do the things they do, and the sociology would tell you why they organize themselves the way they organize themselves. And that taught me way more about marketing than my traditional marketing class. And that was 3 cheat codes to open up the gates of abundance in your life. Fill yourself up with knowledge, skills, mastery, expertise. And you could do that by books, you could do that by a mentor, and you could do that with mastering a skill. Because it is in the mastering of the skill that builds the internal structures that you need to be successful.